we have this large pyramidal structure, and the witnesses, they can't believe their eyes. It's absolutely shocking.
The fifth kind.
Apart from those stargates that we see in places like Egypt is that it is believed to be a stargate where the physical body moves in its entirety through the
Lauren had told her friends multiple times that she felt someone had been inside her apartment, and she also started getting an eerie vibe when she came back alone, especially late at night. It was as though she could sense something wasn't right, and she even thought about moving multiple times, but unfortunately never went through with it. The reality was that Stephen McDaniel had stolen a master's key from a security guard and let himself into her apartment and looked around on several occasions. He also started filming her when she would leave and return to her apartment during all hours of the day. Had Lauren been in this situation before, or even knew anyone that had, she may have trusted her intuition and unknowingly saved herself from a tragic fate. But that's the key word: trust. She had no proof of the danger she was in, only conviction, which unfortunately wasn't strong enough when it was most needed. Stephen McDaniel snuck into Lauren's apartment once more, only this time she was sleeping inside. As he crept into her bedroom, she awoke and immediately panicked once she saw the intruder. McDaniel then pounced on top of her and proceeded to strangle her for roughly 15 minutes. Lauren put up a courageous fight and clawed at her attacker's face and chest, but she was eventually overpowered and died of asphyxiation. After the murder, Stephen dismembered Lauren's body in the bathtub with a hacksaw. He cut his victim into 5 pieces, placed each piece in a trash bag, and then disposed of each of them in separate trash cans around campus. 3 days later, Lauren's concerned friends would arrive at her apartment and let themselves in with a spare key. McDaniel would notice from his window and invited himself inside as he offered to help. All of her belongings were still inside, including her cell phone, driver's license, and passport. A missing persons report was filed that night. A search party commenced the next morning, and police would discover the victim's torso at 9:40 a.m. It was placed in a trash can next to the apartment complex. The rest of the victim's remains were never recovered. The investigation was then switched from a missing person to murder. Police canvassed the surrounding area and began conducting interviews with neighbors and classmates, one of whom was Stephen McDaniel. But he was first interviewed by the local news, and at the time was unaware that part of the victim's remains had been discovered.
We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday. I mean, the last time anyone heard from her was an email that she sent out, and no one's heard from her since.
What kind of person was she? I mean, what did you see her?
I mean, she's as nice as can be. I mean, very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know anybody any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we just don't know where she is.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's why we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
This is most likely a genuine reaction disguised as another. He is most likely feeling a sense of fear and shock over the fact a substantial piece of evidence has been discovered. Yet he plays it off as a feeling of sorrow over the loss of his supposed friend.
I don't know anyone that would want to hurt her. It was as nice a person as there is.
Was she moving soon? Did you know anything about her?
Yeah, she was going to be moving out today. Why would anyone do this? Maybe I could have helped. I mean, they went in, we looked around the place, no sign of a struggle, no sign that anyone had broken in, just nothing.
He was interviewed by police at 11:50 a.m. and offered to help in any way he could, yet came across as fidgety and apprehensive the entire time. There were two highlighted moments of the interview. The first was when Stephen asserted that he was a virgin, saving himself for marriage. The second was when the detective discovered scratch marks on his face and stomach, which he asserted were done by himself in his sleep. He at that point unknowingly became the prime suspect and was asked if police could search his apartment. Stephen reluctantly accepted and was then transported back to the complex with 4 other investigators. While searching his apartment, they discovered a collection of swords, guns, toilet rolls, stockpiled provisions as if he was expecting an apocalyptic event, and a mask made out of women's underwear. The most significant discovery, however, was a pack of condoms. Stephen was asked why he would have such an item in his possession if he was staying celibate before marriage, at which point he miraculously confessed to stealing them from another apartment. This gave the detectives probable cause for arrest, and Stephen was placed in handcuffs and brought back to the police station. His interrogation began just after 11 p.m.
Alright, I just gotta ask you a few more questions. You came down earlier tonight, me and you talked, alright? You don't have any weapons on, do you? No. That's just you walk. What's wrong? You know Detective Patterson, right?
Yes.
Do you remember, put your hands up here, you remember us talking earlier tonight, right?
Yes.
You remember me earlier in the day?
Yes.
When we came down here and talked a little bit and then we left?
Yes.
Okay.
The monotone dialogue and lifeless demeanor you see here reportedly started on the drive back to the police station, and the suspect's conduct throughout the entire procedure is not only mystifying, but almost impressive. This is one of the most extraordinary pieces of interrogation footage to ever reach the public domain.
I need to know about this girl right here. You know her?
Yes.
Who is that?
Lauren Williams.
Does she live next door to you?
Yes.
When was the last time you seen her?
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Were you friends with Lauren?
Yes.
Look at me and talk to me, son. Okay?
The suspect has morphed himself into this abnormal and extremely creepy character. Whether it's a strategy or some sort of mental breakdown is unclear. But what's incredible is that it somewhat dictates the pace of the interrogation. The detective has just closed the distance and commanded eye contact, both of which are recognized techniques to increase psychological pressure. Yet the absurdly haunting manner in which the suspect turns his head and fixes his gaze unnerves the detective to the point where he becomes the one to look away and reset his posture. This essentially never happens in interrogations, as it can give the suspect an incredible boost in confidence.
Look at me and talk to me, son. Okay? Was you friends with her?
Yes.
Close friends?
We were good.
I mean, y'all were friends, right? Both of
Yes.
y'all are law students. You're studying to be an attorney, right?
Yes.
What kind of law do you want to go into? Criminal law?
Yes.
Civil? Is that what you want to do for a living?
Yes.
Okay.
The detective steps back from his initially aggressive strategy. He asks trivial questions for 35 seconds before attempting to ramp up the pressure in a more subtle manner.
And you've lived next to Lauren for a long time?
Yes.
Do you know where she's at tonight?
No.
Hmm?
No.
Have you ever seen her with that dress on?
No.
You have no idea where she's at?
No.
Look, just tell me what happened, brother.
I don't know.
Well, where's she at? I need you, I'm asking you for your help. I'm a detective, and I'm asking you for your help. Can you help me?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You can't help a friend out?
I don't know what you need.
I need to know where Lauren's at.
I don't know.
Do Do you even care that no one can find it?
Yes.
How do you?
Yes.
What's up with the pair of underwear that was in your apartment? That was like a mask. It was cut out like a mask. Do you cut underwear out to look like masks? Are you a knife collector or a knife person, or
No.
you just like knives?
I used to collect swords.
I mean, do you know your swords?
Yes.
I mean, to sell and trade swords?
No.
Is that how Lauren looked with the long hair the last time you seen her?
Yes.
Or that's how she looks?
Yes.
I mean, earlier today, me and you sit here and talk normal. What's going on with you now? Why are you acting like this? I need to know. Why all of a sudden you're acting like this?
I don't understand.
Okay. Earlier today, we sat here and talked. But now you're acting like you don't know what's going on. I mean, did something happen or something to you? I mean, why are you shutting down? Why are you not talking to me?
I don't know.
You don't know? Are you scared?
No.
I mean, you're not scared, are you?
No.
Stephen's demeanor doesn't waver for the first 20 minutes, so the detective eventually takes a more distinctly aggressive approach. He attacks the subject's character to see if it might coax him out of the act and into defending his dignity.
You got your ass on that fucking news and stood out there and gave a media report that her mother saw about her missing daughter. And you want me to sit there and tell him that you don't know? Is that what you want me to tell him? Because you're all over the news. You sure stood out there and ran your mouth to the news media. But now you're going to get out here and you don't fucking know. You know. You're just a sorry piece of shit that don't give a fuck. Right?
No.
Well, why'd you tell the media everything? Do you need to see what you told the media today? It was on the 11 o'clock news. Well, I'm asking you. Tell me. I want to know.
I don't know where she is.
That ain't what you told the media. You didn't stand in front of that camera and say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I need you to tell me what you want me to tell her mother. And then I won't ask you another thing. I'm not going to tell her mother that you don't know, because her mother saw you on the news tonight. And she cried all the way down to Macon. Because you had the balls to get on the news and tell everybody everything. So this little act that you're doing right now ain't working with me. Okay? So you need to snap out of it and tell me what the hell happened so we can move on.
I don't know.
How many times you gonna say I don't know? How many times you gonna say it? If you did something that you regret, you let me know.
I didn't.
Well, who did?
I don't know.
Whether it was planned or not, the second detective enters the room with a similar strategy of immediate aggression. Rapport development seems to have been collectively thrown by the wayside.
What's up, bud? Did you talk to him about his guns?
Yeah.
When was the last time you shot those guns? You've never shot a gun? Have you ever shot any gun in your whole life? Never. So you bought 3 guns that you've never shot?
Yes.
Why? For what? For what? I'm asking for what? Why do you want to have them? What makes, did they give you, I mean, tell me why it's important to you to have 3 guns. That's an easy question. Come on, talk to me, buddy. Me and you talked all day today. We ain't had a problem communicating. Why is it important for you to have 3 guns? Do you not know? You say you don't know where Lauren is, right? You told me earlier you and Lauren were friends, right?
Yes.
How would you describe y'all's relationship? She was your friend. What, did you ever do things for her? Did she ever do things for you? What did she ever do for you? We talked. What'd y'all talk about?
News.
The news? Okay. How many times have you been in her apartment with her hanging out? You don't know? If you had to guess, what was your, I mean, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, what?
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2? See, if I had only been somewhere twice, I could remember that. If I had been there over 50 times and you asked me how many times I've been, like, I don't know, a lot. But the fact that you've only been there twice, when I say how many times you've been there, you say you don't know, that's just odd to me. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
That does make sense. So what I'm saying right now makes sense.
No.
Lauren's missing. This pretty little girl right here, your neighbor, she's missing.
Much like Detective 1, Detective 2 now valiantly moves in for the psychological charge. He closes the distance and locks eye contact. His physical demeanor, alongside a prolonged gaze, will hopefully crack the suspect's fortified barrier. Once broken, the momentum will commence and the suspect will be more likely to divulge incriminating information. All the detective has to do is maintain eye contact for longer than his adversary. It's a psychological battle of attrition between 2 opposing forces, and these moments can sometimes last for minutes on end.
I know.
Me and you both know it's no different than when you was a little kid, right? And you reached in that cookie jar and you got caught after your mama told you not to get that cookie. And when she was, did you get a cookie? No. And whenever you tell a lie, you feel bad about it right then. One, with every lie, there's a chance you're going to get caught. And that weighs on you. Because you know you did something bad. Am I right?
I didn't do it.
You didn't take the cookie?
No.
You smell like you've been cleaning up, like you've been using cleaner to clean up. I know what that smells like. My wife smells like that all the time when she cleans her house. You've been using some kind of cleaner to clean up your apartment, hadn't you?
No.
Stephen, you telling me you live like a man? How does your apartment get cleaned?
I clean it.
When was the last time you cleaned it, Stephen?
I don't remember.
Was it this week?
No.
You mean you go a whole week without cleaning?
Yes.
Why? That's horrible, Stephen. I don't know how else to say it, Stephen. Let me tell you what I think. I think that she was a friend of yours. Look at her right here. I think that she was a friend of yours. And I think something happened, Stephen. You used to watch her come in and out of her apartment, didn't you?
No.
Well, how y'all doing?
We're just talking. See that pretty girl right there?
Yes.
You telling me you looked at a pretty girl like that and you never once thought, ever, man, she looks good. You never thought that?
understand.
What do you mean you don't understand? You know how when you're sitting there, you see a girl walking down the road, and you say, man, that girl looks good. You ever see a good-looking girl on the road, you think to yourself, man, that girl looks good?
Yes.
You never thought that about her?
Yes.
So you mean to tell me you look at porn on the internet and get off to that, but you never looked at her and said, man, I wonder what it'd be like to have sex with her?
Yes.
You have?
No.
Stephen, this is hard, buddy. I know this is hard. And I can tell it's on you. You want to let it go. There's blood in your apartment, Stephen. You didn't get it all up.
This is the widely recognized futility technique, which is used to make the subject believe it is useless to resist due to the overwhelming evidence against them. It's most effective when the interrogator can play on doubts that already exist in the subject's mind. The only problem here is that Stephen didn't dismember Lauren inside his apartment. It all happened in Lauren's apartment, so the detective's bluff is already called at this point.
It didn't all come off. You scrubbed and you wiped. But we can tell that. Don't you watch CSI? Yeah, we know it. Stephen, why is there blood in your bathroom?
The detective now completely shifts his strategy from confrontational and aggressive to sympathetic and understanding. He attempts to create a connection and then afford Stephen a more socially acceptable reason for the crime. This is extremely difficult to pull off after a direct confrontation, as there is no established rapport nor trust. The usual routine is the exact opposite. You would first build rapport and then get aggressive once a connection has been attained.
I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell it. I wanted to be here with you to go through that process because I know you're not a monster, man. I know you're not a bad guy. You're just a hard-working student trying to pass a bar exam, ain't you? You ain't got a lot of support from your family, do you?
Yes.
You do?
The strategy fails at the first hurdle. Stephen immediately shuts down the afforded sympathy and reasoning behind the alleged crime, which was the concept of unsupportive parents. But the detective now attempts to roll with it.
A lot of people can't say that. And the fact that you do have support from your family should make things easier, because your family wants to feel like they've raised somebody that tells the truth and is honest, right?
Yes.
Did you hurt that girl, Stephen?
No.
Have you ever hurt anyone, Stephen?
No.
You've never hurt anyone?
No.
I've hurt people, Stephen. I've made mistakes in my life. It's not even normal to say you've never hurt anybody. Sometimes people get mad and they say things they don't mean to say. It hurts. You never kicked a dog or a cat?
The lead detective then asks non-confrontational questions for almost 30 minutes, which is most likely to see if it will change the suspect's demeanor and the manner in which he responds. But it doesn't. Stephen maintains the same lifeless disposition which he has now kept up for almost 90 minutes.
You know what's crazy? I was talking to people that he works with and everything. They talk about how he's always expresses himself.
But he don't know.
He's very talkative. Stephen, they say you're so talkative, buddy, that you're always so friendly. You stop in and say hello, and you talk. Why is it that you're acting so short with us tonight? If you have all this character and personality about you, why is it that everything that we get from you is yes, no, or I don't know?
I don't know.
Why are you acting like this, Stephen? You see how I'm able to talk in complete sentences? Like we're having a conversation, but the only thing you're bringing to the table is a yes, no, or I don't know. Stephen, did you hurt that girl?
No.
Would you tell me if you did?
Yes.
Have you lied to me at all in this interview?
No.
Yes, you have, Stephen. When was the last time you did laundry?
A few weeks ago.
You ain't washed clothes in a few weeks?
Yeah.
Why?
I have a lot of clothes. clothes.
No, you don't. That's another lie. You don't have a lot of clothes.
Yes, I do.
Nope. You got enough underwear to last you 3 weeks?
Yes.
Do you wear the same pair of underwear more than one day?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's still clean enough to wear.
Where's that little girl, Stephen?
I don't know.
Stephen, you know. You're going to look at this right here, this little girl right here, and you're going to say you don't know? I know you know.
I don't know.
Yes, you know. What are you going to say tomorrow when I say we got your hair with the body? What are you going to say to me then? Because you know, like I go like that. Look at my hair. That's how easy it falls out. Look at all that on your head. You don't think none fell out? It did. We just wanted to give you an opportunity to tell it. So you didn't look like a monster at the end. Because you know what? I don't believe that you're a monster, Stephen. I believe that you're a good guy. You've been picked on. Girls didn't show you the respect that you deserved. You did something stupid. And I believe you feel bad about it. And that's why you're all freaked out right now. But I'm giving you the opportunity to get right. I'm giving you an opportunity to show everybody you're not a monster, that you feel bad about what happened. Your hair is there, man. Your hair is there. That's right, buddy. See that? Look at it. See how easy? See this stuff right here, your hair? Yeah, it fell out of your head when you was moving the body, Stephen. That's right. Do you remember moving the body?
No.
Yes, you do, Stephen. Why, man? Why? Tell me, bud.
I didn't do it.
Yes, you did, Stephen. We want you to tell it so that way people will understand you're not a monster. Things just, you got out of control. It's a sickness. Why'd you do it, Stephen?
I didn't do it.
Stephen, why are you going to keep telling that? You hurt that girl.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did, Stephen. You hurt her, man. She was screaming. Screaming, Stephen. Why? And I know you feel bad about it. I can see it in your face. What came over you, man? What happened, Stephen?
I don't know.
I know you don't know. You couldn't control it, could you?
I didn't do it.
Stephen! They steal your hair and take it over there? They didn't, did they? That's right. It's all sinking in right now. He knows, is what you're thinking. Stephen, I don't want it to be a game between me and you. I know it hurts, and I know you're not an awful person, and you want to tell it. Your hair was there, Stephen. We've all known it all along. We wanted just to give you an opportunity to tell what happened. Did y'all have sex?
No.
Did you try to have sex?
No.
You think about having sex?
No.
Liar. What kind of man doesn't think about having sex? You said earlier you like girls, right?
Yes.
You said she's a pretty girl, right?
Yes.
What'd you do to her, Stephen?
I didn't do anything.
You're lying. You hurt that girl.
No, I didn't.
Sure it did, and that's why you're having this massive meltdown right now.
The detective quite literally repeats the phrase, "You hurt that girl," to which Stephen responds, "No, I didn't," and this goes on for the best part of 20 minutes. Perhaps the detective's strategy was to induce mental exhaustion, yet it had no effect whatsoever.
Why did you hurt that girl?
I didn't.
Why did you hurt her, Stephen?
I didn't.
You hurt her, Stephen.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. You take this from me. You don't deserve to look at it. Just stay right here, okay?
Okay.
I appreciate all your cooperation tonight, okay?
Okay.
Alright, we're getting ready to go. I just need to discuss a few more things with you.
The lead detective now abandons the pursuit of any sort of admission. He instead proceeds to belittle and humiliate the suspect as much as possible. It may have a tactical purpose, but it's more likely out of frustration, alongside the fact he is certain of the suspect's culpability.
I know earlier today you told me you stayed home all weekend, right? In your apartment.
Yes.
Did anybody see you? Did you talk to anybody over the weekend? Were you on your computer all weekend? Is there anything I can look at that I can say he couldn't be involved because he was on the computer, or he was online on a porn site, or he was online doing college work, or anything that would exclude you as being involved altogether? I mean, did anybody see you this weekend at the house? Did you go out to get a newspaper? Did you wave to a neighbor, or you just locked yourself in all week?
Yes.
Nobody saw you?
No.
I mean, what do you just stay in the house all day?
Yes.
I mean, what do you do all day in the house? I mean, you've always done that your whole life? You don't have no friends? How can you go your whole life without a friend?
I have friends.
Where they at? Hmm? Where they at? You have any friends here in Macon?
Yes.
Name one, because everybody I talked to said they ain't your friend.
Brian Granger, Cass Lawson, Ashley Morehouse, Carlin Love.
That's the same people I talked to today, and they're not your friend. Okay?
One of the reasons interrogations are so fascinating is the ethical vacuum it creates for everyone inside its bubble. In any other circumstance, the detective's behavior here would be considered cruel and reprehensible. He's essentially bullying the suspect, yet the empathy we would normally have is now stripped away through the impression of retribution. We know this person has done something horrific, and the treatment he is now receiving is merited through his own actions.
They're not your friend. I mean, it's all over anyways. I just want to know what was going on tonight. The game's over. I mean, we know what you did to her, so we just want to know if you were going to tell us or not.
I didn't do anything.
Well, that's what you say. But we know different. So you're fucked either way. You're fucked. We already know. We know you killed her. We know you put her body in the trash can. The news media knows it. Glenda knows it, your mother. Your sister knows it. Your sister's husband knows it. The one that used to beat your sister, he knows it. You know what he said? He said he's a crazy motherfucker, is what he said when I called him. That's your own family calling you crazy. Nobody wants to see you. Nobody's coming to visit you. So you can sit there with that dumb look on your face, but it's over.
The entire interrogation took over 2 hours. When sped up by 20,000%, you truly get a glimpse of how remarkable the suspect's catatonic performance was. His immediately snapped out to speak with him soon after this moment, and although he maintained his innocence, he immediately snapped out of the zombie-like character. It's difficult to interpret the reasoning behind the performance, whether it was a pre-planned strategy, improvised in the moment, or some type of psychological breakdown is unclear. But whatever it was, it evidently seemed to work, as the interrogators got nothing. The suspect's behavior was so abnormal, they were essentially at a loss with what to do, or where to even start with a specific plan of attack. The evidence, however, was irrefutable. Hundreds of pictures of Lauren were discovered on Stephen's flash drive, along with multiple video recordings of inside her apartment. A hacksaw was found in a supply closet of the apartment complex, and it was marked red with what was later identified as Lauren's blood through DNA testing. The packaging for the exact same hacksaw was found in Stephen's apartment. When confronted with the evidence, he took a plea deal to avoid the death penalty and was rendered a life sentence without the possibility of parole. He is currently being held at the high-security Hancock State Prison in Sparta, Georgia. One of the more discussed elements to the present.
We have a lot of sayings about work, like, there's no...
On the 2nd of August, 2017, at approximately 5:15 p.m., 21-year-old Savannah Gold left her parents' home and drove to San Jose Boulevard in Jacksonville, Florida. She had a 5:30 shift at the Bonefish Grill, a casual seafood restaurant where she worked as a waitress. But on this occasion, she never showed up. It was a fairly quiet Wednesday afternoon at the diner. Her absence wasn't too much of a strain, so the on-duty supervisor simply took her hours off the roster for that day and thought nothing else of it. Suspicions only arose roughly 1 hour and 15 minutes after Savannah had left the house, as her father received a text message from her phone number. Savannah's older brother also received a text 43 seconds later. Although both texts came from Savannah's number, her family knew right away that something wasn't right. She had just left the house in what appeared to be very high spirits, but now proclaimed to be running away with an unidentified man without packing so much as a change of clothes. Not only that, but the text messages were riddled with errors and composed in a completely different way to how she would normally write. Her phone was switched off when they tried calling just minutes after receiving the texts, so they immediately called her place of work and found out that she hadn't shown up. It was at that point they called police and filed a missing persons report. Savannah had been gone for less than 2 hours. Roughly 40 minutes later, her car was found unlocked and abandoned in the Bonefish Grill parking lot, and the only thing missing was her phone. Her wallet, ID, and a number of other valuable items had not been taken. Investigators went through the parking lot surveillance tapes and discovered what would then become the primary piece of evidence for the case. The majority of footage remains undisclosed to the public, but a detailed description of what occurred has already been released. What we know is that Savannah parked her car and stepped out of the vehicle at exactly 5:31 p.m. She then walked over to another vehicle and conversed with the occupant for 14 minutes through the driver's side window. She then got into the back seat of said vehicle at 5:45 p.m. 14 seconds later, the car began to shake sporadically as if some type of struggle was occurring inside. The rear door swung open 3 times, but was immediately and forcefully shut each time. It appeared as though someone was attempting to get out, but couldn't. This lasted for 49 seconds until the vehicle suddenly stopped moving. A male figure was then seen getting out and proceeded to walk over to Savannah's car that was 20 feet away. The surveillance was grainy, and the person could not be identified from the footage alone. All that police could ascertain was that he had short brown hair and was roughly 5'11". The unidentified person reached into Savannah's car and took out what police believed was her phone. He then slashed the front tire with a knife before walking back to his own vehicle. He got in and drove away from the scene at exactly 6:04 p.m. Savannah was never seen exiting the car. This was a crucial piece of evidence, and essentially all investigators had to go on. They had to find out who the man was in the video, and fast. But they also had to be careful in how they conducted their investigation. They couldn't let anyone find out they had this footage in their possession, as knowing this information could allow a suspect to alter their alibi to fit with the evidence. This would take a significant advantage away from investigators during interrogation, and would hinder their ability to build a case to a considerable degree. Over the following following 2 days, investigators briefly interviewed all the staff at the Bonefish Grill. For the most part, these encounters consisted of just 3 questions. When was the last time you saw Savannah? Do you know where she is? And is there anything you know that could help with our investigation? Within 48 hours, they had 3 potential suspects, whose names were then ran through the motor insurance database. The first suspect didn't have a license. The second suspect owned a bright red 2001 Jeep Cherokee, while the third suspect was registered to a 2012 silver Chevy Malibu, an identical match to the vehicle seen on surveillance. His name was Lee Rodarty. He was 28 years old and was both the manager and head chef at the Bonefish Grill. Coincidentally, he was the first person to be interviewed at the diner about Savannah's disappearance, where he told investigators that he hadn't seen her in about 3 weeks and knew nothing of her current whereabouts. It was only from his co-workers that police discovered he was having an on and off relationship with Savannah for the last 8 months, despite it being against company policy. From what investigators could gather, this was a very popular individual, rising fast through the ranks of his chosen profession. He was known for his charm and charisma amongst his colleagues, and also had a lot of success when it came to the opposite sex. On all accounts, his life seemed to be going very well, but he was now the prime suspect in a kidnapping investigation, and the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office planned their next steps in meticulous detail. At around 5:15 p.m. on August 5th, police arrested Rodarty while midway through his shift at work. They told him it was for an outstanding traffic warrant and took him to the JSO Police Department.
Can you do me a favor? I'm going to have you take that apron off, too, just to kind of get it right there. I'll say it right here. You can go ahead and have a seat for me real quick. I'll be right back, okay?
Yes, sir.
The officer said he would be right back, yet Lee was left to sit there for 90 minutes with nothing but his own thoughts to keep him company. Now, think of yourself in his position, and presume you were guilty of whatever happened to Savannah, and that whatever happened was something truly horrific. In the present moment, you have just been arrested for an outstanding traffic warrant, yet you were interviewed the day before about your co-worker's disappearance. 1,000,001 things will be running through your mind about what could happen next, and as each second ticks by, the anxiety this will cause will begin to fester and slowly intensify. However, the optimism of uncertainty would still be present. There would still be hope, but this hope is about to be dashed. The sound of the door opening would have been a pleasant relief from the monotonous cycle of Rodarty's own thoughts, yet this brief moment of alleviation would have instantly converted to shock as Detective Ray Reeves walked through the door, the same investigator who had interviewed him about Savannah the day prior.
Hey, man. How you doing? Good, good. You remember me from the other day, Detective Reeves? Okay.
It would have been at this moment that Lee realized his situation was far more severe than he was hoping. The relative optimism he would have felt during the initial 90 minutes on his own will now be gone, which in turn will greatly magnify the contrasting sense of fear he will now be experiencing.
This is my partner, Detective Staley. She was interviewing some of the other folks, the waiters and other staff people the other day, so she didn't get a chance to come in at the time. I wanted to talk to you, or actually we wanted to. You want some more water?
Please. Actually, would it be all right to use the restroom one more time?
Come on, you bet.
I'm a street light choking on the heat. The world spins around while I'm frozen to my...
Walk out there. You want some water?
Please. Because you're all right.
Yeah. We got water. Like I said, I want to kind of go over some stuff. I know we talked the other day just for a few minutes, and I had some concerns about a couple things. And oh, okay, well, there we go. Anybody else wants to talk? There we go. I wanted to talk to you about Savannah. So I just had a couple of things that came up that I wanted to ask you about specifically that didn't seem to line up. So I wanted to come down and talk to you. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Have you drank any alcohol today? Any drugs today?
I took an Adderall that my buddy gave me.
Okay.
Because I was there so late last night. I
Yeah,
came
yeah.
in and was super tired. Like, here, take this.
Okay. Adderall?
Yeah.
And do you normally take that?
No, I was. I've taken one a long time ago. Like,
Okay.
I wouldn't say high school. A little bit after high school, but it's been years.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. I appreciate that. All right. So, Savannah, you said that you knew her and you guys had, you knew her from work. I mean, just kind of fill me in with that. How long have you known her?
Like I said,
The detective starts off with an open-ended question. This gives the suspect total freedom and flexibility in how they wish to respond. It's commonly believed that people with nothing to hide are likely to give a short and concise response to these types of questions. For example, if Lee was completely unconcerned with what was going on, he could respond in 3 short sentences. I met her from work. I've known her for 2 years. We dated for a bit. To the contrary, if If an individual does have something to hide, they are more likely to give a lengthy and detailed response. The simple reasoning behind this is that they are seeking approval. Imagine yourself in a job interview and you're asked an open-ended question, such as, "Tell me about yourself." You would feel the need to be thorough in order to please your potential employer. The psychological premise is exactly the same with regard to police interrogations, albeit under completely different circumstances. Guilty subjects will see the interrogator as an imminent threat, and will therefore attempt to appease this threat to prevent further aggression. Truthful subjects will have no fear nor concern with regard to the same element. They would see the interrogator as a mere inconvenience as opposed to a threat.
I've known her obviously since she started working there. I would say probably about 8 months ago or so, we started hanging out outside of work. And at the time I had a girlfriend. But I kind of, we kind of connected, me and Savannah. So we hung out a little bit here and there. Got pretty close. We come from, I guess, somewhat similar backgrounds, I guess you should say.
Okay.
She didn't have it the best growing up, neither did I. So we kind of connected, hung out for a little while, and then she started using drugs a lot.
Okay.
Now, I used them with her, not the same drugs that she used all the time, but I did them with her a couple times, and then she started to get heavy into them, and
gotcha. Okay.
So I kind of just tried to take a step back and put things off. Probably a month or so ago, I saw Savannah at work, and she looked healthy again. She gained a little bit of weight, and just friendly talk at work. Telling her, hope everything's been good, and she told me, that I guess she did a lot of drugs and ended up in the hospital. She ended up missing I want to say a couple of days, 3 or 4 days from work.
Oh, okay.
So obviously, you know, me being pretty close to her, I was concerned and everything. But after she came back, you know, she looked good, and she ended up telling me that, I guess, you know, over those 4 days, she detoxed pretty well, and she kind of caught a, you know, new sense into why she shouldn't do drugs so much.
Okay.
And like I said, she looked good. You know, she started looking healthy. So we kind of were talking, you know, here and there. We hung out a couple times. She came over to the house, and you know, we just kicked back, drink a couple beers, watch movies, stuff like that. Like I said, we did, you know, we took like some pain pills here and there on occasion. But then she started like bringing heroin over and stuff like that. And that's, you know. My mom was addicted to methamphetamines when she was when I was younger, so those hard drugs just kind of scare me a little bit. So that's why I took a step back the first time. I ended up telling her, I was like, hey, you know, for one, I'm dealing with a lot of personal stuff myself right now as it is. You know, I'm a little depressed. But I think we're moving too fast. I think we should, you know, stop talking. And she said, I understand, it's completely fine, no problem, you know. She said, I'll delete your number, I'll never text you again. And that was the last time that we text.
When was that?
Yeah.
When was that?
It was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Sometime in July.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things you said was that was the last time that you had contact with her.
Yes.
As far as, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I mean, you correct me.
That was the last time that I texted her.
Yeah, text or a phone call or a messenger or anything like that. 2 to 3 weeks ago. Yeah, okay. And then the last time, when was the last time you saw her?
This is what I was a bit. I didn't tell you the truth when we talked at Bonefish.
Okay.
Lee doesn't know the extent of the evidence, but he knows the investigators have something, and he now has no choice but to amend his alibi to some degree and give some form of admission. This allows the investigators to get one step closer to a confession, while also keeping the capacity of the evidence hidden until a more critical moment.
Last time I saw her was Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
The search for stories is on, out there, in your world.
I heard that she has been basically telling a lot of people at work that we hooked up a bunch, like a couple of days before that, and that she was going to like tell about the whole situation and, you know, try to get me fired. And
why would that get you fired?
I'm a manager and she's an employee. So
okay, so you guys aren't supposed to fraternize?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
And she just told people, I guess, that she was out with that work at the restaurant that we were having sex.
Okay.
I pulled in the parking lot. She pulled in a little bit after me. I parked and I said, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And she said, yeah, what's up? And I was like, I heard you've been saying some things about me and you continuing to hang out, and you know that we're boyfriend and girlfriend. And she asked me, she said, can I come sit in the car because I just did some heroin and I'm a little paranoid.
Heroin doesn't make you feel paranoid. It makes you extremely relaxed and oblivious to your surroundings. Some might argue that heroin can cause paranoia depending on the user, yet Savannah was driving moments earlier and was about to start a shift at work. If she was using, she most certainly wasn't the type to get paranoid.
Okay.
I said, why are you doing that? You know, you're doing really well. You shouldn't have been doing that.
Okay.
And so she came and sat in the car, and I explained to her the situation. I told her that servers at Bonefish were coming to me and telling me that you're telling people when you're out that we're still having sex and we're boyfriend and girlfriend. And I said, I would appreciate, you know, I need you to stop because for one, it's jeopardizing my job. We agreed to, you know, stop talking mutually and just move on and, you know, be cordial or whatever. But it was nothing more than that. And she said, fuck you, you know, you're a piece of shit. And I said, she said she's going to keep talking, you know, telling lies and stuff about me and everything like that. And at that point.
Lee has just tried to cover his tracks as much as possible without giving away anything incriminating. He may have thought a witness saw him at the scene with Savannah and was most likely hoping the verbal argument was the extent of what was seen. He therefore gives away this detail in an attempt to come across as truthful, yet as we know, the investigators have proof that Savannah never got out of the car, and he's about to lock himself into his second lie, which is exactly what the detectives want.
She had her phone in her hand, she got out of the car, and walked towards the main entrance from San Jose.
So like if
So this is
like
I wouldn't say she was walking along the edge of the plaza, but she was walking maybe towards this way. And I would say an older model Ford pickup, green.
Okay.
Drove past me and around, and she got in.
Okay.
The suspect has now thrown away his best possible defense, which would have been that he drove away from the parking lot with Savannah, and that she got out at another destination where they then parted ways. If he had known about the surveillance footage, this would have no doubt been his revised narrative, but it's no longer possible due to this fabrication. This is now his stated alibi under caution, and any amendments that he might try to make at a later stage will have no credibility whatsoever.
So she gets out of the backseat and begins walking in the direction of, not necessarily paralleling San Jose, but she's walking towards 295 or down towards that entrance area.
Yeah.
And then she's got her phone, and you said you thought she was calling somebody?
The detective knows this alibi is completely fabricated, so you might be wondering why he's inquiring into it further. The truth is that he's not actually inquiring, only pretending to. The suspect's responses to these questions are of no importance, and the detective is not information gathering. He's simply getting the suspect to let his guard down as much as possible by making him think that he is being believed. As the suspect continues to convey this made-up narrative, his anxiety will slowly diminish, his belief that he is fooling the detectives will increase, and his heightened state of mind will decrease as a result. This is a well-known strategy, and the reason for this strategy is because the detective is about to initiate the first confrontation. He wants to catch the suspect completely off guard.
She had it in her hand and looked like, I mean, I couldn't tell if she was texting or not or anything.
But she had her phone out.
Yeah, she had her phone out and was looking at it, and then it looked like she was going to put it up to her ear, and then the green truck came around.
Okay.
And she
how long
got
do you think it was between the time that she got out and started using her phone till that green truck pulled up?
This goes on for roughly 90 seconds, and Rodarty appears to be considerably more at ease.
295 all the way to Beach Boulevard to Grove Park, and then Grove Park.
How long does that usually take you? Depending on traffic, obviously.
I think it usually takes me about 25 minutes or so.
Okay. What happened to your neck?
We see a very sharp and very sudden switch. The suspect is taken from feeling assured to once again feeling threatened. It's believed that when the immediate shift from one emotion to the next is so extreme, a suspect can become disoriented, and their ability to think critically can be affected. In other words, it's much harder for them to think up lies on the spot or fabricate emotion in a convincing manner.
That was self-inflicted, actually.
After a long, nervous breath, he takes 3 seconds to respond, yet somewhat saves himself with the answer. The fact he stated his injuries were self-inflicted could give reason for the nervous breath and his hesitation to respond, as self-harm is a taboo subject, and some might be embarrassed or even ashamed to admit to it. The detective recognizes this and immediately puts him back on the spot.
Why?
I just have been having kind of a hard time.
You're not?
I couldn't.
The first interjection from the female detective. She alludes to the fact that the neck is an unusual place for a self-inflicted injury, essentially stating that she's not buying it, but also refrains from applying too much pressure, which is being saved for a more pivotal moment at a later stage.
Yeah, I did. And
what did you use?
a knife.
When did you do that?
Some time in July.
You did that in July and it's still bloody?
Well, I kind of peel the scab here and there at work, hitting it on stuff like that. I peeled it last night working.
Probably not the best advertisement for the Bonefish Grill if their head chefs are peeling their scabs off at work. But then again, the wounds are more than likely a fresh injury from his struggle with Savannah, and they hadn't been peeled off at all.
And it was coming off a little bit today, so I peeled that a little bit.
All right, let me see.
But this and this was the same night. This one was just a lot worse.
Yeah.
Than this one was.
Okay. And that was in July?
Yeah.
Okay. Like a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Maggie.
Okay. When she's in the car, what does she say to you about what her plans are? So she's scheduled to work that night.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to work?
She didn't talk about, I mean, I assumed she was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
She was in her uniform. But she didn't say, when she got out of the car, she didn't say anything after she got out of the car.
They further reinforce his confidence by going back to his narrative of the truck and allow him to convey the story in more meticulous detail. They are once again giving him a false sense of security, only to use it against him at the opportune moment.
And she gets in that truck. Let's be honest, we won't even call her she, Savannah. Okay? Savannah, again, with this picture, if we're using it in the same place, from where your drawing was, they drove over here. You're here, and they drive out over here. Do they stop? Does she get out and go into work? Does the truck keep going?
I didn't see once they turned the corner past the ATM.
Mm-hmm.
Once she got in and they left, I left. Because I just...
Did you run into them on the road anywhere?
No.
Okay. Did she call you later on or text you later on?
Savannah, no.
Mm-hmm. No other contact with her?
No.
So where's Savannah right now?
I don't know.
Where would I find her?
I don't know.
This is a far more aggressive confrontation. It's essentially an accusation that the suspect is involved in Savannah's disappearance. Innocent subjects will usually reciprocate this aggression and respond to this type of question with a question of their own, such as, "Why are you asking me that?" Or, "What are you trying to say?" They would openly recognize and refute the allegation, most often in a forceful manner. Lee had no emotional response whatsoever, nor an ounce of shock. He answered the question with a composed demeanor, almost as if he knew it was coming. It lets the detectives know he was anticipating some type of blunt confrontation.
That's my prime objective, is to find her.
Definitely.
I think time's running out on her. I want to find this girl. I need to find her.
I understand.
And here's a couple reasons I need to find her. One is I'm hoping that she's still alive. And that's really, I really do, I'm holding out for that. And if she's not alive, then I think she and her family are due that knowledge. I think I think they need some closure, because I think the reality is if somebody's dead somewhere, a parent would want to know. I think do you have kids?
No.
Okay, so one day when you have kids, the uncertainty is whatever kind of a person she is, and I'm not about to say what kind of a person she is, because I'm not making any judgments. I'm saying that this human being is, if she's alive, then I want to find her. I need to make sure she's okay, because several days now she hasn't been around. Things happen to the human body, and people can't stand a lot of things that can transpire. But the other thing is, if she's not, this family deserves better than this. This family deserves better than somebody who works with her and who's got knowledge and won't tell the police because they're worried about their own ass. Because that's pretty cheap. I'm gonna be honest with you. And
I agree.
your feelings in it, I don't really care about your feelings. What I care about is finding her. So where is she?
I don't know where she is.
Where is Savannah?
I don't know.
I need to know where Savannah is so I can
don't
let
know
her family
where
know.
she is.
You don't know because you had something done with her and you weren't involved in that part? I don't know. Tell me something. What can I work with?
I told you the last time I saw her.
But that's not true because we have proof.
This moment would have been rehearsed multiple times before the interrogation started. The investigators would have planned who would reveal the surveillance to the suspect, and at roughly what moment. The suspect had been confronted multiple times, and the situation was now fully transparent, yet he continued to maintain his innocence by clinging on to his narrative. It becomes evident that he isn't going to budge, so the female detective takes the initiative. She reveals their final and most substantial piece of evidence for the purpose of maximizing the pressure.
We have proof. And that's why we're sitting here, Lee. At this point, we need this for her. I mean, I look at that little girl and I think of my little girl. My little girl who's her age. That's who I think about. was my little girl, I couldn't imagine. I don't care what she said about you or whatever, but my little girl is that age.
Maybe.
And you're not telling the truth.
Maybe something gets out of hand in the car.
I didn't do anything.
Okay, you didn't do anything, but she was in your car. She never got out of your car. She never got out of your car. Lee?
We're not saying that you did anything. I'm trying to find her. I didn't say you did anything.
I don't know where she is.
Well, we can prove that you left with her in the car. So please, do everybody a favor and just tell us.
Where is she? You got to be able to separate. We're not sitting here saying you did anything to her. I don't know. She's on drugs. Maybe she passed. I don't know. I'm not in that car with you guys. I know that she's in that car with you. I have proof of all of this.
Okay, let me ask you, Lee. Then tell us now if you're being an honest man. Are you being honest?
Yes.
Okay, well then, let's start being honest. She never got out of your back seat, Lee. She never got out of your back seat. Video cameras don't lie.
Lee.
How do you know? How do you think I know this information, Lee? I wasn't there, but a video camera caught it.
Tell me what happened.
I don't know.
What happened to her? Was it an overdose? Is that what happened? I don't know. I'm not in the car with you guys. You just said she was in your car and she had admittedly had done heroin.
This is a cross between the how and why solution and the alternative question. Both are used to lower the gauge of admission for the purpose of getting one foot in the door, which will then become the new foundation for building the case. The how and why solution essentially blames the victim, while at the same time minimizes the motivations behind the crime. The alternative question plants a seed in the suspect's mind, where they are given an alternative and far more morally accepting choice for what happened. It's a smart move, yet the suspect doesn't fall for it on this occasion.
Bodies overdose all the time. Is that what happens? Does she overdose?
Okay, well tell us when you left with her in the car, because that is what is shown. We can't make up that. We can't falsify a video camera, Lee. I'm not lying to you, because you know I'm telling the truth, because you know that's what's on the video. How else would I know that? I don't. Unless I have the video. Where did you go with her?
I didn't go anywhere with her.
You did.
No.
You did. So the video camera's lying?
So I just made a huge decision. I found out what college I'm gonna apply to. Finally! Am I right? I went to education.
I don't know this. I mean...
Well, I'm telling you.
The surveillance footage was no doubt incriminating evidence, yet wouldn't close out a case on its own that easily. The investigators need a confession, and continue to apply pressure in a relentless manner. They attack the suspect's character, while simultaneously appealing to his sense of morality.
I'm telling you, I'm not lying to you, I'm not making that up. That's why I'm so passionate about this. This is someone's child. You might not have kids, but damn it, she's someone's kid. We're fact finders, Lee. I don't have anything personal against you.
No, not at all. I mean, it's
we're
over.
just fact finders. We're just
happened.
doing
Where
our
is she?
job. No. Where did you go with her? Where did you go with her, Lee? Be human. You're a human. You're a man. Where did you go with her? I know you're not that cruel inside. Seriously. Where did you go with her?
Maybe you don't know where she is now. Where did you go with her?
Please. I'm begging you, Lee. Please. Please tell us. Please don't make us waste any more of our time. Just tell us. Please tell us. Please. I'm begging you. I know you're not evil. Just tell us where she is. I'm begging you. Please. Please. Can you please just tell me? Where did you go with her then? Can you
at least tell us that?
At least tell us that part. Where did you go with her afterwards? She didn't get out of your car, and you know that obviously because I know
we
that.
do. That's why we're here. Just tell us where. Where did you go with her? Tell us that. At least point us in that direction. I owe her family. We've been. No one's. We're not saying anything that you intentionally did anything. Just tell us where you went.
When y'all left out of there, you went down Clare Lane, you made a left on San Jose, about to 295, and you get up on 295. Okay? Where else did you go before you went home? I mean, I know you eventually went home,
I
but...
didn't go anywhere. I went straight home.
Okay, so what did y'all do when you got home? Savannah was with you. She was with you. And that's okay at that point, but I need to know where did she go from there? Is she still at your house?
No.
Okay. Is she still in your car?
No.
Okay. Well, then where is she?
I don't know where she is.
Okay, then where did you last drop her off at?
I didn't drop her off.
Okay, well then tell me.
What happened? Where'd you guys go?
We went to my house.
This is a breakthrough. The investigators have got Lee to amend his story once more by lowering the level of admission, and this shows that he can still be influenced. As stated earlier, they were trying to get one foot in the door, which they have now done, and this is their new platform to build on the more damnatory elements.
We did some drugs.
Okay.
Hung out for a little. And then she said she was going to catch an Uber home.
What was going on in the back
Didn't do
seat?
anything to
What was
Savannah.
going on in the back seat? For the doors to be kicked open. She kicked open that door 3 times, Lee. She kicked it. We saw it. Where's Savannah?
I don't know.
You do know. Lee, we understand. Listen, we understand.
We're not trying to hinge you up on anything, man. I'm telling you, I'm thinking about this girl and her family. And your family.
She was serving.
Please tell me where to go find her. That's how people remember you.
The released footage of the interrogation tape cuts off at this exact moment. The state's attorney has been contacted by multiple sources to release the next segment, but has so far refused to do so. All we know is that Lee Rodarty admitted to killing Savannah Gold. The only information that is currently released is that he proclaimed to have killed Savannah by breaking her neck. He then took her back to his house where he burned her body in a self-made fire pit and then dumped her in a lake at the dead end of a secluded road. Savannah had injuries to over 75% of her body. The medical examiner was unable to pinpoint the exact cause of death. The only conclusion was that it was a violent homicide. The segment of admission was cut, yet the JSO released the footage. That came just moments after. It shows a human being experiencing an emotional reckoning so overwhelming, while also trying to process the terrifying nature of his immediate situation.
Fucking idiot, Lee. Fucking stupid. You here?
The instant anguish over his decision to confess, combined with the looming prospect of what lays ahead, will have forged a unique emotional distress that very few will ever experience. It's a harrowing sight, and under different circumstances would be extremely difficult for most people to witness. Yet we are now couched within the context of events that led up to this moment, and this will make its observation far more tolerable, but by no means easy.
It's so stupid. Oh, fucking. Oh, no. So sorry. Stop. Dad's fucking killed in jail. Shit. I'm nice to you. For somebody who was a bitch to you. How does that make any sense? It's time to get to wear a chef coat. It's not supposed to be you. It's not supposed to be me. It's supposed to make something of your fucking life. Everything. Going places, man. Your fucking head. Could have told her, you know.
Lee was remanded into custody and taken to the Duval County Jail where he was denied bond. In spite of the overwhelming evidence against him and the prospect of life in prison without the possibility